Yo, I figured out what we did wrong, so we're gonna crack on with what we were doing. It was really, really simple. What I did wrong is when I copied all my controls into this unit here. What I didn't do was reconnect that mix, so I was only getting the drive signal through. That's all that was going on. It was that simple. But it does make me think that actually I don't want the mix in that section, so I'm gonna cut it, and then I'm going to drop it out here. So that's going to be sort of separate and on the outside. And that means I'll have to connect that again. Just down there. So that now works again. That's the only change I made. Panel. Working perfectly again. So the next thing to do is we're getting quite a lot of sort of debris, I would say. It's starting to all look a little bit confused. So I don't want to make things too crazy in here. Time is fine, feedback is fine, diffusion is fine. Whatever this is, if I can even get hold of it, I don't want that to be visible. And that's immediately better. GUI we're actually going to keep separate. Because this whole section here is going to change. And input mute I want to drop out as well. So basically it's controls which are per delay. I don't want in the bit that says stereo delay. But controls that aren't per delay, like mix, as more of a general thing, so I can switch between modes and keep things running smoothly. I'll keep them outside. So input mute, I'm also going to need. I'm going to need to take all this out from this delay. So this is now instead of having just one delay, I'm now sort of setting myself up for having more than one delay, having a multi-mode filter. I'm going to paste that in here. I can't remember which way around it was. And I'm also going to remove this out. Paste. I'll delete it. And will that still be connected? Let's find out. Not connected, so that's input mute. There we go. So the question is, did I do that correctly? Let's find out. I can drag that off out here. That's right. That's working perfectly. So all of this I'm not going to touch at the moment because I'm going to be putting in so much more stuff. I wonder if there's a sort of a nicer style for that. I think probably that is the best. Not exactly thrilling. Also, I'm going to need to have a mode selection. So that's going to be a paged index panel, whatever they call it. So panel, And then panel index. Panel list. And we know there's at least 2 already. And it goes from 0 to 1. This is going to be stereo delay. This is going to be dual delay. Where I'm going to have 2 independent lines. And this is going to be ping pong delay. And whether we get more than that, we shall see. Depends what my needs are. And we'll call that mode. And in fact, I don't want to do this. This is going to be a bit of a pain in the cock. No, I know how to do it. Because the reason I'm using this switch here is because this will turn off whatever isn't connected, whatever I'm not running signal through. That will turn off the CPU for that section and save myself a load of CPU. So rather than run 4 separate delays when I'm only actually getting the output from 1, this switch will turn them off. But it has no immediate way to control a panel index because I can't get the number from it. So what I'm going to do, cunningly, is have a load of hidden switches. So I'll delete that. And I'm going to have, I need 2 switches here. First one is that, and that's going to be modes. So 4 modes, because I suspect I'm going to have 4 modes on the delay. So it's minimum 4 ports. This doesn't actually need to be connected. Oh no, that's all I need actually. Okay, cool. So I'll connect that. Internal connections, I'll send that to. And then here, internal connections from, and there we go, from mode, which is in the GUI. And I don't want that to be visible. So that's now gone, and I'm left with this mode over here. And I want a text panel on that. Shove that off a little bit more. So let's rename all of that. So the first mode is stereo delay, dual delay, ping pong delay, and let's call this design delay. I'm going to connect constants up to this. Let's change them. Ooh. Whoa, where am I going? And now I can use that to control my panel index. Perfect. Let's check whether that's working. And of course, I don't have any other elements in my GUI, so it's not going to show me that yet. But if I drop in another macro like that, it should, in theory, always active. I wonder why that isn't working. So that has not as yet, because I haven't made it a stack macro. Oh dear. So I'm going to have to reconnect everything again because I keep on being an idiot. Okay. I can live with it though. There we go. In fact, let's shortcut that. Just for now. Nah, it's gonna screw it up. So I'm gonna delete that. We're just gonna get all the goods out of here, and then I'll go back into the delay and sort it out. Cut selection. Paste selection. Drag that up. Let's call that stereo delay. Now delete that. And this should at least now work. I think it will. It definitely changed something. But what I do need to do definitely is jump back in here and reconnect everything. Annoying. So that's D time. That's flutter. That's low pass cut. That's high pass cut. That's diffusion. That's rotation. And that's feedback. So did I miss anything? Let's have a little check. Mix isn't in there. Input mute isn't in there. D-time I did. Did I do size? No, I didn't. Flutter size, rotation, diffusion I definitely did. Feedback. D-time. I think that's everything. So that's all linked up. Let's work on our panel a little bit. Interesting. View, I'll expand that out because it's clearly struggling a bit. There, something like that. And it's a page panel within a page panel, which I think might be causing it some grief. I'm just going to drag the elements in. I'm sure I'll be able to control it effectively. Whoa, that's interesting. Wow. Okay, back to front, why not? I think I know what's going on. Bit of a problem with Reaktor this. Not super helpful. Stack macro time, there we go. On. I'm just going to keep on going until I get it right. I still haven't fixed my problem here. And this is a bit of a problem. It functions correctly, but it's in completely the wrong place. And chuck that over here. See, there you go. I can't move that at all. And the frame is invisible. So I guess what we're looking at for that is moving that into a different section, because clearly it doesn't like having panels packed in this way. That's a bit of a shame, I would say. And I literally cannot move that knob. So I wonder if I can... Yeah, there we go. Okay. Cool. We're in business again. That's an interesting way of doing things. I'm going to switch to that window there. That is not super easy to work with, but I think we'll get there. I'm going to rename these. So this is base time, and this is multiplier. Safe. Okay, so that's ugly, but that's fine because I can't really do much with that just yet. So I'm going to copy that and then paste. And this is going to become my dual delay. And this is going to be the GUI for my dual delay. Let's just check that well, I'm not going to know yet whether that's working correctly or not, because there's no difference. I need two of these, so now I'll be able to tell. Copy. paste, and I'm going to call that and copy paste. And I need to rename these. It's manual L. Whoops. And that's sync L. No, I'm doing that wrong. It's not going to work like that because of the paged indexes. Indices, I should say. I need to copy that. Copy, paste. And in this one, that's knob L and knob R. Time L. Time R. And I need to do my to and from voices. To voice. Copy, paste. Math add. Okay. Add them together. Set the voice I want it to be going to. To then. So that is manual time on our stereo delay, and that means that we'll test this out first of all, I think. Get this little bit working first. Cancel. I'll save that. So let's jump into our panel and see how badly I've screwed that up. And I'm a little bit confused why I can see both. I'll unlock that again. Delete. For some reason, it seems to be seeing these two as the valid targets. And that's just a regular macro. See here? It shows the layering there. And that there shows manual and sync, which is the two boxes there. So what I'm not getting is why here mode is forcing that panel index to show a different thing. I wonder if the problem is this mode switch. Let's just turn this off for a second. I'm just going to try this with no, I don't think it is, judging from that. Just going to try this with a list. But I can't think it will be. No difference. So for some reason this is falling through into this stereo delay and it's hitting these, even though they're not packed indices. Well, the simple solution to that is if I cut that selection, and I'll have to redo bits of that because of that. It's that size, rotation and diffusion I need to redo. Delete. Things are getting confused. Okay. Size, rotation, diffusion, and then I'll jump back in and I'll clear out that other one, the feedback one. That's just feedback. Cut, paste, delete. Save that. Shove the list off down there. So now I'll unlock that. Manual sync. It doesn't see anything else, that's good. There is no other macro for it to hit. So back in here, let's see if I can get this working again. So panel stack macro. And it sees both. Why does it see both? Should only see one. Unless in some way I'm being super thick. But I don't think so. Yeah. I think it's more of a Reaktor bug than a Windows 10 bug. It might be one for the NI forum that. But what I'll do is continue on. Rather than getting distracted by this, I'm going to continue on. And we'll work on the GUI elements later, basically. I'll delete that. I'm going to copy that. And call it dual delay. And I'm just going to drag this down for now. Because I doubt I'm the first person who's ever had that problem. There's something not quite right somewhere with that. And stereo delay is very similar. So I'm going to paste that in. And we're going to have to do a lot of renaming here, which is going to be sort of not exactly wildly exciting. From there, it's going to go into there and then into there. So I'll jump into here and get the maths done. And so the manual, I copy that. And I have to do all this again because I had to delete the other one. So auxiliary, to voice, copy, paste, constant, I change that to voice 2. So left channel, right channels, 2 voices. That needs to be renamed anyway. And then I need to add the 2 voices together. Copy and paste. Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Whoa. What did I just do? Bet not lost a lot of that. Not too bad. I hope. God damn it. Copy. Paste. Delete. Duplicate. Dual delay. Jump into time. Manual. Right. Hopefully, third time lucky. Duplicate. Time left, and this should be time right. Math. Add. There we go. And on the panel, I'm just going to, because I'm not sure about this, I'm just going to drag this down. So it's the dual delay I want. So at least I can work on the maths. I'll unlock that. Time left, time right. Wow. Pass. And I'm going to need to reconnect all these. But I need to rename loads of the stuff in the GUI. And pretty much that's all I'm going to do. There is going to be one extra bit on this, which is going to be cross feedback. But I'm going to call that dtime dd as an identifier. I'm just going to put dd on the end of everything. And I need to change this one too. So that's all the same stuff. I just copy that and paste it. That goes in there. We copy our voice structure again. I'll just I renamed the wrong one. Incredible. Incredible. That could be a lot worse. Wow. I'm sure I can screw this up worse. Delete. Okay. So this is like every mistake under the sun today. Literally every mistake under the sun. And then I jump into here. This is DD. Copy all that. Jump into sync. I'm going to paste that. That'll be fine. Copy that. Paste that. That's going to be the same for both parts, so I can use it in both easily enough. And I just want that going into each one as so. But these now need to be, and it makes sense that they are, these need to be mono now. Because I'm putting them into a single voice. And I need to rename that, so that's base time L and multiplier L, base time L, multiplier R, I'll take a break in a bit. I'm going to get this bit working. So it's even if it's ugly, I'm going to get this bit working. I cut that bit out. I remember, that's fine. That's just size. There we go. HP cut, low P cut. rotation. So that all looks good. So now I need to go into not these bits. I need to go into the actual audio process and make sure that I've got these right. D-time, that's good. Butter. Feedback. Make sure I haven't screwed these up too badly. Fusion. Everything is linked up there. But this is, I need to change all these now. So Flutter. And this becomes Flutter DD. D-time DD. Low P cut DD. HP cut DD. Diffusion DD. Rotation DD. Size DD. And feedback DD. I think that's everything. Let's see how I did. So, fingers crossed. I'm going to set these differently. Save. That's working. So I've lost loads of stuff with all the problems I've been having, but we'll get there with that. I'm really not too worried about how it looks at the moment. Thank goodness, or I'll be upset. Ooh, that's so weird. Let's check out our sync timing. That's obviously wrong. It's gonna. I think it'll look cool like that. I'll lock that in place. And that's working too. I've got problems with the GUI. We'll sort them out. But the timing is working. Yeah, it's worth it. This is going to take a long time. We're talking like multiple sessions. And that's a pretty nice effect. I'm getting to be pretty happy with it. And now I want to enable cross feedback on the channel. So this is going to be interesting. I'm going to take a 2-minute break. So, while the kettle's boiling, what I have to do here to enable the left channel to go into the right channel and the right channel to go into the left channel is get the information out of the voices. Duplicate. And then put it back into the voices. From voice. Duplicate. Constant. Constant. It's going to be voice 1 and 2. I'm going to take it from there. And then to enable cross modulation, I'm going to come around here to signal path and select a scanner. It needs 2 ports. Linear crossfade is perfect. Duplicate that. And we'll start with no crossfade, which is that position. Ooh. And then we'll go to inverted, which is that position, constant. Constant, and that's going to be 2. I'll get my teacup. And then I need a math. I'll add them together because I'll put them back into one voice. And it goes in there. Now that has to be monophonic because I'm working with individual voices. And in terms of logic, we're done. In terms of layout, that's a nightmare. Probably best to put it like that. That is probably clearest. I'll compress these down. I'm going to move the diffuser delay up. That's probably about as clear as that's ever going to get. Okay, I'll finish making my tea. Obviously I need to get the actual knob in, but that's not a big deal. Cool. So, to control that crossfade, I need a receive point, which is going to go in there and there. Damn it. Edit, undo, create wire. There. It's good, and I'll jump back around into my GUI. Panel knob. So that's going to look like percentage, and then I'll scale it. There's the send, and I'll call that cross FBDD. Panel. And the knob is there. That's a stupid name, but I'm not too fussed about that. Cross FB. I lock that. Jump around here to the audio process and connect it up. Which it didn't like, and the reason it didn't like it is because that is not monophonic, and now it is. Check that's correct. All working. So I'm going to start with that on no feedback, and let's check that we've got different timings and that's all working correctly. Going to turn off the rotation. Let's turn that up a bit. There we go. Let's go for pure. That's working great. But what I'd like to do as well with that is have a little width controller. Which is going to be more of the same. It's just another selector. In fact, no, it's not. That's a lie. Signal path. This is a stereo pan. I don't need another one of these, so I'll duplicate that. Delete wire. And then I need an add, which I'm going to duplicate. And both lefts from one go together. Mono. 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 And both rights from the other go together. And again, I need a receive into the pan control, and I'm going to invert the signal I receive into the other pan control. And the reason for that is if I show you, if I hover over pan, you'll see why. So -1 is full left and +1 is full right. So if I send the same signal into both of them, then both signals will be pitched over to one side of the channel. Whereas if I multiply it by 1, then it will do that, essentially. That's going to be in here. Nope. I'm going to call that width. And it goes from ooh, call that 100. Then I'm going to multiply that by rate constant 0.1, and I'm going to send that. Just a second. We appear to have got a signal back. Interesting. Got to be careful of that. One of the problems working with the delay is things can get out of control quite quickly. So width 0.01 even, because I went to 100. There we go. Send. I wanted to call that width. DD. Just in case. And jumping around that, I'm going to go into my dual delay. And I've done this back to front, I suspect. I want to go into that one. Let's see whether that works. Width can drop down there. But now I'm going to set width at 100 and I'm going to turn off cross feedback. Something's not quite right. Oh, I know what I didn't do. And I feel like that's just on. Maybe it's okay. That needs to have... That needs to not be. Something pretty weird about that. Something wrong with the right channel. There we go. There we go. I think that's sorted it out. Okay. And it should be coming out of there. I think that's all working. Aside from, there is actually a fault with that. Yeah, there's a fault with that. I need to cut these out and put them in differently. They're in the wrong place in the schematic. It's not a tragedy, but it does need to be changed. If I move them out there, just going to delete these wires rather than do all the reconnecting again. And I'll shove that off out there. So I've still got all of that. That needs to just be like that. Whoa. Computer struggling a bit for some reason. There we go. There. And then I need to separately do these away from the feedback loop, because that's just confusing issues. Paste. And that should now work correctly. That was quite complicated. Let's see whether it does. I think that is now correct. Okay, I'm happy with that now. So that is essentially the maths of our dual delay done, which leaves one more delay that I really wanted to get done in mind, which is the ping pong delay. So I'm going to copy that one and paste it in. And call it ping pong delay. Yeah, there are bugs. There are bugs. Without doubt, there are bugs. So the challenge of this one is that when you do a ping pong delay, it goes from one channel to the other channel. And so that means that the delay is actually, for each channel, the delay is half the time that it says it is. And also there's pre-delay because one channel doesn't start off. So we're going to need another delay in here. But it doesn't form part of our whole loop. It stands on its own. Oh, where is it? It's in the built-in modules. There we go. I'm just going to punch that out to 10 seconds again. In the old days, I would have had to think very carefully about doing that, but not so much anymore. It uses quite a lot of memory when I do that, but it's not a problem in the wonderful days of 64-bit. It makes a world of difference. I'm going to need a receive on that. Which is going to go in there, and I'm going to call that pre-D PP. Pre-DPP. Yeah. And I'm not going to want cross feedback amount on this one. That is not going to be relevant, but what I am going to want to do is just flip the voices over. So I'm going to delete that and that, and voice 1 goes into voice 2, and that's it. I'll keep the width knob. I think that will have a definite use for us. And that should be in terms of the audio process, that should be it. Up here we've got things to do. I'll copy the dual delay, I think, because it has more of what I need. So first things first, I got rid of the cross feedback control. I'm going to mute that. No, not mute. I don't mean mute. I mean delete. I'm going to delete that. And then in time, this is a bit little. No, I know how to do it. I'm going to multiply it by 2, so that will half the speed of whatever is in there. And that's fine. So that'll be my main delay time. Let's rename this now, just to stop confusion. D time PP. But where it's different is getting the pre-delay time. And that depends on which side I want to go first. So I'm going to need a I'll go the signal path. They're a bit nicer to work with. So I need 2 ports. Yeah, okay, cool. And then I'll have a send after that. I'm going to call that pre-DPP. And I'll use a list to control that. I'm going to call it LR or L. I'll probably make that a little bit clearer. See how it looks when we actually come to the panel. I'm going to need to manipulate my voice structure again. Duplicate. Duplicate. Whoa. In fact, no, I don't need 4, I only need 2. Delete. Delete. No crossfade. And then there we go. And I'm hoping that will work. I may need to be more explicit, but I don't think so. Yeah. Mono. Oh, no, 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 no. Yeah, it doesn't like that. Okay. Have a good one, Zentori. Thanks for watching. I've got them back to front. I'm an idiot. That will probably work a lot better now. Save. And I need to go through here and relabel all our duplicated identifiers. But it's not that bad, there's not that many. It's not like it was. I think I've got everything there. Let's jump into the audio process and make sense of that. So that needs to come from Flutter PP. Pre-DPP. DTime PP. LP cut. PP. High pass cut PP. Size PP. Rotation PP. Diffusion PP. That's width PP. Feedback PP. I think that's everything. Let's have a little look at the list. I think I've done all of them. Cool, save. Let's check that out. And I'm going to have to extend this down until I figure out what the problem is with the stack panels. I'll rename that. Unlock the panel. Chuck the ping pong delay down. Move that list over so I can select the mode more easily. Getting there. There we go. Okay. Let's try it. Something's not got quite right. So where did I go wrong? Well, let's turn on wire debugging and see what we can see. That's the problem. Why would that be 250? I see. I need another 2 voice in here. Maybe. Make that constant, and that can be 1, and then math add. Nope, 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 nope. Delete 1. Make that voice 2. Still not quite right. This isn't doing what I want it to do, I would say. Just trying to figure out how to scale the output so that it recognizes that I've got 2 different voices. Maybe if I sort of explicitly mute. I don't think I have to. I think it just overwrites whatever I send in. I don't think it adds it. But let's just try. Multiply by nothing and then go out. No? Let's try that. Make sure I'm on the right one. Okay, so I think that's now sending the information correctly, which makes it kind of weird that it's not getting through. That's 0. That's 0. That's 375. 375. That to me looks completely correct. So the question now is, why isn't it correct in the ping-pong delay? And that would be because I've connected it into the wrong thing. What the hell have I done there? Right. Wow. Okay. That can go to delay. I'm going to punch that in there, and then that goes in there. Let's see whether that works a little better. Okay, it's wrong, but I'm cool with it being wrong because I'm now getting a kind of stereo effect. I take everything off. Definitely, that's all I've got on there. And it's that's happening because that is now in the feedback path. So that goes in there. And the output from that goes in there. And then that goes in there. So I'm only delaying the signal the first time it comes in. That's still not right, but it's nearly right. Weird. To me, that should just flick across. So the problem now is either here or here. Let's cut out that one. Right, it's not that. Edit, undo, create wire. I don't think it can be this, but I'm going to try it. Okay, figured it out. I think this will fix it. And now all I've got to do is figure out why there's a big old pause at the start. It should go straight away, but there's a kind of pause. And I'm not sure why that is. So back into time. That I feel is correct. And now I understand why there's a pause, but I'm just trying to figure out how to fix it. The problem here is that as it comes in, yeah, cool. It gets delayed. I know how to fix it. It's complicated, but I've got to be extremely careful where I take my output from and where I send my signal to. So, what I need to do is make this first delay Wow. This is complicated timing, guys. I need to make the first delay the size of the delay, and then whichever one I'm delaying first should also have that added. So, wow. It's in here. Let's get this first delay right, and then we'll sort out the tail, because that's going to need me to take the output from a different point in my loop. This is never easy. Time. It's in here. And that absolutely wasn't necessary. But actually now, I kind of think it is. Let's get rid of that one away from now. So I'm just going to get one mode right. Just going to run that through. That's all correct. Okay, and I'm not worried about what's going on with the tail for now. I'm just getting the first 2 bits right. Okay. Wrong place. New ping pong delay. And the problem occurs here. And what I want to do or rather what I'm doing wrong is having the output come after this delay here, which is now my main delay. So I'm going to cut that main delay out and move it down here. And I think that may work now. Bingo. But with the ping pong delay, what I don't want is 2 separate lines, because that doesn't happen. So I need to jump back into my GUI section, jump around here, and in time I'm going to get rid of quite a lot of it. It's just going to be like that. And I can delete that. And I can delete that. And the manual bit, I can just run that out and delete all that. So now I need to make this one work. I need to make this section work the other way around. Copy and then paste. I'll move this down so it's out of the way. That goes straight through. I don't think that voice is technically necessary, but it just makes it a lot easier to follow what has happened. And then add, and which one do I want that on? So there's one on this one. So it needs to be 2 on this one. That mono. Wow. Okay, that needs to go there. No wonder that one wasn't working. Save. And if I change the mode, those 2 numbers should now be inverted. Which they are. So let's check that's working correctly in the earphones. So it should be, it goes one side first, then the other. Left, then right. And this one should be right, left. But I'll have to do the labels. Damn it. No. That wasn't right. Oh, it was. Yeah, that's right. So I need to rename them, but it's working. That's a little bit clearer, I think. And I'll call that first. That can be called mode. Okay, so I now have 3 out of my 4 modes written and working correctly. The GUI is a disaster. That's okay. It doesn't matter at this point what that's like. I know that's not going to be right. That's a working ping pong delay. Here's my 3/8. Bit of saturation. Diffusion. And a little bit of flutter. That's not sounding great. I'm not too worried about that. I can sort that out. Alright, it works. Cool. I'm going to leave the stream there for today. I'm kind of all programmed out. I hope you enjoyed it. Next time, maybe think about the fourth delay mode. I'll have a little play, see if I come across any bugs that I can't fix. Just keep on going, basically. And then I'm going to post on the Reaktor forum about stack macros because I think I found a bug in their software. And we may have to rethink how the GUI works slightly to get around that. Or it may be that I'm missing something obvious and we can figure that out from there. Cool. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.